You are listening to the Nightly News Podcast, the voice of the Knights.
Welcome, everybody, to the Nightly News Podcast. This is Professor Miller, and of course, I am always so honored to be joined by Nightly News Hall of Famer Abbee Breski, but I have to make sure that you're so much more to us than just a Hall of Famer, Abbee. You are our Student Engagement Coordinator and our Athletics Success Coach. So you got quite the title, but Abbee, welcome back to the show.
I do. Thank you for having me.
Well, Abbee, I wanted to take the time to have you on. We like to have you on at the beginning of each term to go over some of the events that we have going on campus. And so we have a number of huge events coming up here this term. And, of course, later on, we're going to get to the featured 3 events that you have selected. So we will get to that here momentarily. But we want to start off. There's nothing better than coming back for the spring term because it's getting warm outside.
Yes.
I mean, come on. Doesn't it just seem like the winter just took forever this year? It
took way too long, and I think it's starting to come back today.
I will say that some of the baseball games were a little rough, and I've pointed this out several times, right? So basically, those last couple of weeks of March, the last couple of weeks of winter term, and to break, we had 8 games. It ended up being 7 because one of the games got rained out. But for the sake of the argument, 8 games in 8 days, right?
Yes.
Abbee, the first game,
freezing,
30s.
Yeah.
The second game,
sunburnt.
No, that was the third.
That was the third.
Second game, 50s. Third game, 70s.
Yes.
Over the course of 5 days.
Yes.
We went from 30 to 50 to 70 in 5 days. It was absolutely insane. And I'm glad you pointed that out. That was probably the earliest in the year I've ever gotten sunburned before.
Me too.
Because I definitely did get sunburned. But, of course, we got to see the Knights win 7 straight games. So, of course, we will talk about that here in just a minute.
Also, a handful of home runs. You got to check it out.
Well, I'm hoping that if you're listening, you have been wise to checking it out. And, of course, you can always watch our home live streams on the Nightly News Media Club at Central Penn College YouTube channel. Well, why don't we start there? Right. Baseball has been fantastic, at least from a home perspective.
Yes.
Now, the Knights have not had the robust schedule that they typically had in the past, but, of course, we had the Snowcrete event where we got that 8-9 inches of snow or whatever, and then it glazed over on the top, so it took forever to melt. Therefore, the guys only got to play 2 games in February, and it was almost to the middle of March that they picked up again to play. But to this point, they have had a very, very nice run, and all systems seem to be go for another potential ESAC championship. But, Abbee, I do want to talk about a couple of these games we have coming up. First of all, on the day this is released, let's just say that, is the first of the doubleheaders. So if you're listening to this when the show has come out, we will be taking on Manor College at F&B Field. But assuming that you didn't have the opportunity to listen to this immediately when it was released, I do want to highlight a couple of games. First of all, Sunday, April 19th, we will be at actually Central Dolphin East High School.
Yes.
And, of course, more information can be found out at centralpennknights.com about that. But we do have a doubleheader that day. But the big one is April 28th for Community Night, Abbee. So tell me a little bit more about what you have planned for Community Night.
Community Night, I have the amazing opportunity to partner with Verber Dental. Dr. Verber has been gracious enough to come back again. Verber Dental sponsored our Hoop Night in January, and they are back again for more of a tailgate scene on City Island. We'll be right under the bridge before you walk up to see FMB Field from 2:30 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. on the 28th. It'll be a tailgate setup. We'll have pizzas. We'll have yard games, T-shirts to hand out. And then the athletics department partnered with some student workers and our new Student Athlete Advisory Committee. They will be running between inning games for any of the fans that come to watch.
I've always loved Community Day, and it is a Tuesday, which is a little bit different than what we're used to, but of course we are playing in a minor league ballpark that has games, and we are beholden to their schedule. But I think that this is cool. I just hope it's another beautiful day. We've gotten such great luck on our community days as far as weather-wise, so hopefully it's another day like that. And, of course, it is the last regular season game, but I want to be very clear. This is tentative, of course.
Right.
Saturday, May 2nd, slated for the ESAC Championship game. So long as the Knights are in first place, we will be hosting that contest. So again, that would be the dates to hold. April 19th will be at Central Dauphin East High School. Community Day on April 28th. Those games are at 4 and 6. And then, of course, the ESAC Championship game, May 2nd. I want to say last year that game was at either noon or 1 o'clock, but typically just a single 9-inning affair. So you still have plenty of chances to see your Central Penn Knights. And of course, if you're listening to this when it first came out, you can go out today, April 14th, against Manor College. Abbee, another thing that I want to talk about is Sexual Assault Awareness Month. I know that's probably the most difficult transition from sports to this, but we are talking events here.
Yes.
And we just got done recording a really, really awesome podcast with Anna Nasser, our advocate from the Domestic Violence Services of Cumberland and Perry counties. So stay tuned for that next time, that podcast that we had with her. But one of the things that you're doing as part of Sexual Assault Awareness Month is the Clothesline Project. Would you like to share with us a little bit more about that?
Yes. So the Clothesline campaign will be held April 15th, Wednesday, from 3 to 5 p.m. in our quad. And for any returning students, it is that clothesline that you see in April hung from pole to pole. And we display different shirts based on consent and raising awareness for sexual assault. You can come and write on a shirt what making a shirt means to you. We will also have a guest speaker, and she is going to come and talk about her personal experiences with what making a t-shirt means to her. And then we will also have teal ribbons, which teal is the color for sexual assault awareness. And you can sign your name, pledging that you will raise awareness and you will continue to advocate for those around you. And we will display those on campus as well.
And as someone who's been here for quite some time, Sexual Assault Awareness Month is always something that, no matter who is sort of in this position, there is always a lot of programming around that. Yes. I would also just say, because of when we're recording this, Abbee, I'm sure you're going to have plenty of other things going on, so please continue to check Student Central and Central Station for additional events and things like that around the Sexual Assault Awareness Month. But hold the date for April 15th from 3 to 5 p.m. for the Clothesline campaign.
And then we're also working on, you could follow us on Facebook at Student Activities at Central Penn College. So you can find more pictures there. I
will absolutely do that. Well, we have one more event I want to talk about before we get to the featured 3. Yes. And that is something that's going to be taking place on Friday, May 29th. And it's the CPC Film Series. Now, this CPC Film Series is going to be so much different than anything else that we've ever had. A fellow Hall of Famer, Dylan Bowman, is going to be presenting 2 of his original films, as well as recent graduate Nick Hogan presenting his animated short film. So there are going to be 3 short films. Each of the filmmakers will present between, say, 10 and 15 minutes prior to the event, or prior to the screening of their film. So I really think that this is going to be something really unique here, Abbee. You have obviously been a very important part of the CPC Film Series over the years as part of the Nightly News. Why do you think this one stands out maybe more than some of the others? Taking nothing away from our previous presenters, but why is this one super unique?
Obviously, our previous presenters have been amazing. This one is so special because, at least to me and those in the Nightly News, I've seen Dylan through our college journey together, and obviously Nick as well.
Well, you took over as president after Dylan, right?
I know. It was hard.
That just occurred to me.
Those are big shoes to fill, but we figured it out.
Noah would say that about you, and
I appreciate
you know what
that.
I mean?
But yes, it's just special to see alumni come back, and both of their passions for film and their love for every aspect about it just makes it so special, because it is someone that you kind of have in your backyard, and it's just so fascinating to see them just thriving in their passions and creating something that is so special to them.
So the interesting thing here is, Abbee, is that you mentioned earlier, we do have, as part of the Nightly News, we've sponsored this for so long. People who have followed the film series probably remember when Dylan presented, I believe it was about a year or 2 ago, his own film. And one of the things that's super interesting about this is he is actually going to be presenting one of the films he presented previously, except this time it has been professionally rescored, which I think is super unique.
That's amazing.
So he is going to be presenting on Vintage, which was one of the films he showed before, but it's going to be it's professionally rescored. And then he is going to be presenting one of his new films called Plaster Heart. So that's definitely something that we are looking forward to. Nick, all the years we knew Nick, I don't think I ever knew that he was an animator.
I did. I don't know how he kept that secret from you, but
I mean, maybe he said it in passing.
Yeah, but he's been as long as I've known him. I've known he's been working on different things. I think it's Nick and Trevor.
Yeah.
Yes, I think he's been working on different variations for a little bit.
But yeah, I think that that's so cool. And so Nick is going to be presenting his animated short film. So during the CPC film series, we're going to get 3 different short films, 2 films from Dylan Bowman, 1 film from Nick Hogan. I really think this is going to be something really, really special. So really looking forward to that. Yes. All right. Well, Abbee, it is time for Abbee's featured 3 events. We are going to talk about your 3 biggest events that you have coming up this term. So we will start off with event number 1. That's going to take place on April 22nd. That's the campus cleanup. Share with us a little bit more about it.
The campus cleanup is going to be held on Earth Day, April 22nd. We're going to do that in the afternoon from 12 to 2. And we're going to it's invited all students, faculty, staff can come and help clean up the campus community. One of the biggest things is I focus on what we can control. And what we can control is how we take care of the spaces around us. So we're going to clean up our campus in any way possible for Earth Day and appreciate the beautiful scenery and the beautiful campus that we have. So we're going to do that on April 22nd.
All right, so campus cleanup, April 22nd from 12 to 2. Our second event, Abbee, is Volunteer Day with Kareem's Mission on April 24th. Share with us a little bit more about that.
Yes, so we are, along with Sexual Assault Awareness Month in April, it is also Autism Awareness Month in April. So we are partnering with Kareem's Mission, who also works with individuals along the autism spectrum. And we are going to have a group of students come in and help clean off new toys that they get donated. And they also have a printing room. So we're going to have students help them print the different things that they need for upcoming events.
Fantastic. And Kareem's Mission, such a great partner. A couple of our communication students have interned there, and just a fantastic partner right here on the campus of Central Penn College. And the last one is something that fans of the podcast may recall happening in the past. It's SGA is sponsoring yoga on May 12th from 4 to 4:45. So where did this idea come from?
Yes. So I have to give it credit. Jaleisha Johnson is a member of our SGA. She's also an RA. And last term, she did a research project on sleep health and how important it is. Her biggest thing is a lot of people focus on the mental health aspect, but not necessarily how your sleep or lack of sleep can affect your mental health. So part of mental health awareness, she wanted to focus on that relaxation and that part that allows your mind to slow down enough to get a good deep sleep for a longer amount of time, and how to wind down after maybe thinking about your assignments or bills or different things like that. So we're going to have yoga from 4 to 4:45.
That's really cool, and I'm glad to know that sort of tradition is coming back. Abbee, I guess before I do a recap, do you sleep? Because you've got so much on the event calendar. I don't know how in the world you could possibly do all of this.
I do. I squeeze in some sleep every once in a while. But it's a lot of fun. My job's fun.
That it is, and I appreciate it. First of all, I won't belabor the fact I promised you the last time after I gave you crap I would never do so again, so I'm going to stick to that. But the bottom line is we are honored to have you. I'm so glad you're in this position. You have really taken the ball and run with it. I mean, has it been 9 months now? Or a year? Has it been a year?
It has not been a year.
Okay, I didn't think so.
I started in September.
Okay.
So
more than 2 full terms.
Yes.
Okay. I would say, considering that it's been more than 2 full terms, you should be unbelievably proud with the progress that you have made. So I do want to just give a quick rundown of all of the things that we have going on. I'll start off with the Clothesline Project for Sexual Assault Awareness Month on April 15th from 3 to 5 p.m. in the Quad. That'll be followed up by Campus Cleanup, which will be on April 22nd from 12 to 2. Of course, any of these events, you can reach out to Abbee, and Abbee, I'll put your information along with this. We have the Volunteer Day with Kareem's Mission. That'll take place on April 24th. We have several opportunities to go check out the last few games of the Knights baseball season on April 14th, 19th, and 28th for Community Day, and please potentially hold May 2nd for the ESAC Championship game. Of course, you can always go to centralpennknights.com for more information about the schedule for all of the games. We also have SGA Yoga on May 12th from 4 to 4:45, and we have the very, very unique CPC Film Series on Friday, May 29th at 6 o'clock. Anything else to add, Abbee?
I don't think so. I think if you ever have a club or anything that you want to do on campus, you can either find me in the underground or email me, and whether my email is included, or look me up. But I'm always open to new ideas and any ways to bring people together.
That's what I like to hear. And Abbee, again, it's always my pleasure to have you on the show at the beginning of every term to talk about the amazing things that you're doing here. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, well, hey, that's going to do it for this episode of the Nightly News Podcast. I would like to thank Student Engagement Coordinator and Athletic Success Coach Abbee Breski for joining us here today. And, of course, Nightly News Hall of Famer. I have to squeeze that in. But that's going to do it for this episode of the show. We'll see you again next time.
I'm Dylan Bowman, former president of the Nightly News, and you're listening to the Nightly News Podcast.
Welcome, everybody, to the Nightly News Podcast. This is Professor Paul Miller, and I'm so honored to be joined by, and I say this to a lot of times, but this is legitimately one of my favorite guests that we have multiple times a year. We're so honored to be joined by the Assistant Athletic Director and the men's basketball coach for the Central Penn Knights men's basketball team, Kenton Alston. Kenton, welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Paul. I got to send it right back to you. Like, you're one of my favorite people on campus, and since day one, and I just love being here, and I love everything you guys do.
Well, let's start off by saying I'm shocked that so close. So this is coming out in the spring term, but we are recording this still in the winter term. I can't believe you have a voice. Because if anybody has watched Central Penn basketball, I got to tell you, you are one of the most charismatic, dynamic coaches in the thick of the game. How did you get to that point that you've become that? Yeah, because you're so reserved and so calm and polite when we're in meetings and just even, friendly conversations. You're a whole different person on the sidelines. Tell us where that all came from.
No, I love that you brought that up, Paul. It's something I've gotten all my life with basketball, not necessarily just from coaching, but as a player. My high school coach would always say it like it's like Superman, like just changing in the phone booth. Like when you step between those lines, it's a different person. But I'm so passionate about it, and not just for me, but like I want the guys to be successful. So any way that I could do that, or like speak life into them and just try to like get them pumped up, that's what it's all about. Like I've learned over time that I've tried to like adjust my style and kind of like dial it back a little bit, but sometimes our guys need that. And I think here at Central Penn, like our guys need to know that like their coach believes in them, has their back. So I'm always trying to push them to be at their best.
Well, that's awesome. And I'll tell you, there were numerous times when we were calling games and you were on the sideline and you could tell that your voice was like all but gone. And I remember there was even a couple times I talked to you and you barely had a voice. And I'm just like, man, you do got to dial it back a little bit because, you got to be able to talk and communicate to people. Anyway, we are here to talk a little bit more about the Knights basketball season, and I think anyone who's followed along with the games knows, unfortunately, unable to get that first home victory this year. You did get one in the win column, but let's just be honest, it certainly was not the season that you anticipated. There were, a lot of changes in terms of lineups, significant injuries to captains, which we can talk about. And, I think that it's important to start sort of where we left off last time we talked, and that was the schedule. One of the things that you were very proud of coming into this season was the highly competitive schedule. Of course, you started off with Cheney, but then went to Morgan State, McDaniel. We had a home contest versus Penn State School, and then went on the road to American, Coppin State, and then played NCAA D3 Valley Forge. I mean, you want to talk about a murderer's row of a schedule for a USCAA team. In fact, you had mentioned that we had some really, really tough USCAA strength of schedule information that came out. If you want to share a little bit more about that.
Absolutely. It ended up being that we had the second strongest schedule in the country, in the whole country, USCAA-wise. So I was definitely like excited about those opportunities coming into the season. Year one might have bit off more than I could chew, but I'm a competitor, as I mentioned earlier. So like exposing those guys to those like Division I games is always a blessing of an opportunity. But definitely moving into this year, I definitely learned a lot about scheduling, and even on the administrative side, like me and Casey talk all the time. And these were even some things that she mentioned to me in the moment. And I'm like, no, let's take on this challenge and play this team or that team. And with all of November being primarily NCAA games, it was a tough task and a tough start to our season. And it's something I'll definitely learn moving forward in the years to follow, to just give our guys some games in there that like some filler good games where like they could play and just for sure wins and things like that. But the competitiveness of myself was like excited for that moment. But it's a learning process, and year two will look a lot different.
The second hardest schedule in all of the USCAA. I'm just curious who had the hardest. I don't expect you to remember that off the top of your head.
I can't remember the name of school off the top of my head, but I'll definitely let you know for sure.
I'm just curious how it was harder. I mean, it's with the D1 schedule that you had here, 3 D1 games, 2 D3 games, not to mention a lot of the teams that we're playing within our own conference are unbelievably competitive.
Absolutely.
So anyway, yeah, the season started off on a tough note. You know, those first 16 days led to 7 consecutive losses to start the season. Yes. Now, once we got back sort of out of that schedule, had some really, really tight games. And one of the things that I did want to talk a little bit about was anyone who watched our broadcasts, I would say on the men's side, noticed a trend. And I just want to see if you would speak to that trend, or maybe you see it a different way. The trend that I saw as a commentator of all of these games was the Knights always started off very solid, very crisp, not a ton of turnovers, played solid basketball. We're in these contests at half, not always up, but certainly within striking distance. The second half would come, foul troubles would come, maybe rushed shots, not trying to find the open look, maybe taking an ill-advised 3, foul trouble. And so the greatness, it's almost like a Jekyll and Hyde from first half to second half. Now, granted, yes, I'm only talking about home games here. Was that a trend that you noticed this year, or am I just imagining things?
You're absolutely right. And everything you mentioned just here briefly, Paul, was 100% spot on. It's crazy because last year's team was a second half team. This year's team, we always, like you said, start off strong, had a good first half. We're in the game, whether we had the lead or was close. And that got better as we got on through the season. Our last game at Manor, at one point in the first half, we were up by 21 against the number 1 team, the ESAC champion. So we got those glimpses of like what we're capable of being, but it's just us playing 40 minutes. That's what I always preach to the guys. Like, it needs to be the same. You can ask the guys in the locker room, our last game, I'm like, what version of us shows up in the second half? The one that has consistently showed up throughout the season, or a team that's ready to play a full 40 minutes the same way and just keep doing the right things? But you're right, like ill-advised shots, substitution issues. Once our roster kind of got cut down with injuries and departures, it was hard. You look down the end of the bench and it's like, okay, like who is able to do what this person that is in foul trouble can do on the court? So it's definitely something coming into the season. We want to be deeper. We want to have more depth roster-wise, and just be able to continue to teach the guys and preach to the guys that like it has to be a consistent 40 minutes of play, the best we can as coaches. One
of the microcosms of exactly what we're talking about came on senior night. And frankly, one of the more exciting games I've ever gotten to call. I wish it would have went the other way. And Christianham's a tough team. I mean, we've been back and forth with them on the court, men's and women's, for the last few years, right? Like so it's always a team that we know they're going to come in and they're going to be ready to play. They're disciplined. Mm-hmm. This was a situation where first half, everything was going right for Christianum. I mean, these guys were just, I want to say they hit like 10 of their first 12 threes.
Absolutely.
And then defensively, you started guarding the perimeter in a much more solid way in that first half. You got on a little run, big momentum shift, the three-point play at the end of the first half, where we go into the locker room down 5. Come out in that second half, take the lead, playing really strong basketball, and then about 15 minutes left in the game, you started seeing some cheap fouls. And then what ultimately happened is 3 of your best players, Breski, Khalil, and Keon, all fouled out. And it was almost like we just ran out of steam at the end of that game. That game was unbelievably competitive, but as soon as essentially 3 of your starters foul out down the stretch, it's going to be a challenge, and they just ran away going away.
Absolutely, and it's a testament, honestly, to where we currently are. Like, it's a shout out to our guys. Like, Christendom was in our ESAC championship this year, so shout out to them and Coach Dotson there. But we're capable of that. Like, I think like where we were in the ESAC this year in our games, showing where we were, if we could just consistently bring that the entire time, and it's not always going to be consistent. The game is a game of runs, but if we could weather those storms and not get through those moments of adversity, I think we're a much better team. And to only like lose that game by 5 with the game going how it went, starting slow, pulling it back, like that was a perfect game to show like us battling through the adversity and the runs. But it's just on us as coaches to get our guys ready to play a full 40 minutes.
One of the comments that both myself and one of my broadcasting colleagues, Nightly News Hall of Famer Parker Rose, pointed out, man, we're just dying for that first home victory, Kenton, and you know, we will be there with you when that happens, and maybe we'll run out on the court and carry off like the Gipper, you know. Well, I don't want to belabor this season, other than to say that I think it's fair to say that there were some really, really close games. The Bucks County game at home, of course, you won Bucks the first time you came in. That game was really close, but again, second half just got away from you. Another close game, again, Christianum. The earlier in the season, Williamson Trade, a 2-point loss. I mean, some of these games, they really could have went either direction, and maybe just another year in the system, maybe those go the Knights' way.
Absolutely. I think, as I mentioned earlier, how we ended the season roster-wise and kind of learning our group and who we could build around moving forward. And I'm excited because this will be the first year bringing in an actual like recruiting class, like whether it's high school guys, JUCO transfers, grad students, whatever that may be. I'm excited for the group that's anticipated to come this year. We're trying to grow our regular program. We're trying to grow our developmental JV program. So I'm excited for the future and the build around guys like Cam, Keon, and the core guys we have left from the end of the season.
So I wanted to talk with you about, now obviously, yes, this is your first year as the head coach, but you've been assistant athletic director and you were an assistant coach before. This is now 3 years, correct, that you've been involved with the program?
Yes.
So I want to talk about some of the seniors who were honored during senior night and just get your impressions. You've again been as part of this program for 3 years, so you've seen basically these people's whole entire time for most through this program. So I'm just going to kick out a name and get you to give us a little bit of sort of nostalgia about these people. And I want to start off with Isaac Callalang. This is a guy who, in his first season, in fairness, you can look at the stats to disagree with me if you like, really didn't play a whole lot. And what I would say, again, I only got to see, how many home games did you have? 10?
Yeah.
Something along those lines. So I only got to see those games, so I didn't get to see all of them. But this is a guy who made some unbelievably clutch shots, significant minutes off the bench, played a strong defense. I mean, senior night, he tied that game with a three-pointer late in that game, and I was to the point where I was like, this is like the magical story, such a tough season. And I'll tell you, I think a lot of the bittersweet nature of this season would have all been changed if senior night would have went just a little differently. But
absolutely,
that's aside from the fact. Talk to us about Isaac and some gains that he made here in a senior season.
Oh, man, Isaac Callalang, man, where do I start? I was excited to bring him back in the mix when I took over at the head coaching role. Just a great student, great kid. He's actually, it'll be announced here soon. It already was announced, but we'll be promoting it soon. He's our only academic All-American.
Wow.
Which is huge. So, like, in the men's and women's program, he was the only one this year. So, like, 3.6 GPA.
That's incredible.
He's wonderful. I'm so proud of him. I'm so happy for him. It speaks to who he is as a person. shows up to practice every day, regardless of his role in the team and playing, and he's always the same person every day. He's coming ready to work, help make the guys better. He does whatever I ask him to do, even from like a preparation standpoint. If he's playing on the scout team at practice and getting the starters ready, like he's always engaged and like taking it 110% serious of like what I'm asking him to do so that the guys can prepare the right way. But he's just a phenomenal person. I love Isaac so much. Like he's very important to like where we are right now and where our program is going to grow to be.
Isaac was, again, it really, really showed out here in his senior season. We're going to miss Isaac, but of course we congratulate him on the academic All-American honor. That's unbelievably important. The second verse I wanted to talk about was Donnell Loud. Donnell had last season was unable to play. This season he comes back as a senior. One of the person who gave you a lot of size. He has a nice jump shot. Tons of blocks, tons of dunks, very flashy on the court, plays a solid defense. Talk about Donnell's season, some of the highlights that he had, and how the team's going to miss him moving forward.
Man, I love Donnell so much, man. Since day one, he's been someone I connected with just since day one, like his personality. I love his spirit, his smile, like everything that he just brings to the campus community. Like I love him. He's one of my favorite people. Tough because like it's hard to get guys his size here at the USAA level. So like not having Donnell is a tough loss and something we really need to focus on replacing because length and size is everything. We have Cam coming back, but that's it. So like losing Donnell, there's not really that other tall presence. But I just love the way he plays, man. He just plays with so much energy. He loves the game. I'm happy in his progress and coming back. Even though he missed that season prior, he came into this season with the most credits earned on the team. Like he took that challenge and he didn't run away from it. He came back, bounced back the way I expected him to, and to be eligible. And like I'm more proud of him for that and just sticking it through. And now he's getting ready to get a degree. And any way I can help him, I'm here for him, man. I love him so much, and he'll definitely be missed. And we're potentially working on ways to try to like keep him here a little bit longer if possible. So fingers crossed that may happen. So, but until then, we got a plan to move forward as if he's not.
I've been very lucky to get to know Donnell as being in the comm program, and actually in the relation of how these shows are recorded. He came out end of last term, but he actually came in and did a sort of a little podcast with us during part of his internship and got to talk about some of his experiences and his memories. So I definitely hope that you can go back and listen to that because he obviously says some amazing things about you and the mentorship that you've provided. But yeah, we're going to miss Donnell. I mean, anybody who's here on campus knows Donnell and his smile. You can see his smile a mile away and is honestly one of the genuinely nicest people. But he's someone like you. Yeah. When he gets out on that court, it's a whole different person.
I think that's where we connect, and I try to bring that out of him. I'm like, look, you can channel it this way, have control over it, like don't let it like go the wrong way. But it's not necessarily a wrong thing, and I always try to let him know that because he's, like you said, he's the sweetest kid on campus and out and about. So it's okay to have both sides, just as long as you're able to reel it back in.
Last senior I want to talk about is number 5, Khalil Dukes. I mean, as a guy who's been doing this really since like 2018, when I think back to Knights who have made a lasting impact on the program, I mean, you don't have to look a lot further than Khalil. Khalil missed parts of the last couple seasons, not for any other reason but due to injury. Missed an entire last season, if I'm not mistaken.
For the most part,
yeah. And so having him back this season, again, drew in some of that senior presence that you're looking for. You know, Khalil was, predated you, but talk to us a little bit about Khalil's impact and your interaction with him.
So I actually love Khalil. Even speaking of the predated thing, like I had an opportunity to meet him before I came here, and all the previous coaches, Coach Martin, Coach Archer, like I'm very close with. So knew Khalil before I got here, even working at Central Penn as assistant AD. But man, just a great person. Like we're like out. It's almost like father son. Like we're connected. He knows like how I'm thinking about everything. He already knows in advance. So like he kind of has that head start of like being able to relay that message to the guys. He's a great leader for our program. Just a hard worker. And as you mentioned, in the last 2 seasons, him being on and off injury-wise, I was just happy to see him back, enjoying the game, playing. Battled through some injury portions this season a little bit, but not as long as the last 2. But just fought through the adversity, was one of our key leaders, and ended up being our point guard at the end of the season our primary leader who we hung our hat on to end the season. So I love Khalil, just a great leader, great person, great student. Same with Khalil. He has another year of eligibility, but we wanted to make sure to honor him for senior night just in case he explores other options. I know academically he's finishing up soon, but I think he just wanted to make sure he was able to take advantage of that moment, celebrate senior night with our guys and the family. Same thing with him as I said with Donnell. Like, hopefully we can find a way to bring him back, grad school, different things, other options, but we still have to sit down and talk about that.
Sounds good. Well, as we move into our final segment here, I want to talk a little bit about not only, I think we can come back in the offseason, talk about some of the recruiting class, but I just want to talk about, of course, we're not going to be able to touch on every single one. We do have a limited time here. Kenton's an extraordinarily busy man. I guess I am too. Maybe not quite as busy as Kenton. But no, I want to talk about some of these folks who you're building around moving into next season. Who are the returning players that you're going to be counting on to be those senior leaders moving forward?
Well, definitely Cameron Wilson. He ended the season strong. So the vision and plan for Cam is to, I told him, honestly, I'll be fully transparent. Like, the next 2 seasons should be All-American seasons, honestly, and that's my expectation for him. Just equally a great kid, one of the most polite kids. Gentle giant is what I call him. You see him, he's huge, but like, he's one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. But on the court, he's a beast. You can't stop him. He's hard to stop. So I'm excited to have him back and build around him. Off season, we're just going to get him in better shape, get him to where he doesn't experience too many injuries and he could play longer games, but just get him to that point where he's at now, having 20 point, 20 rebound games. If we get him a little bit of better conditioning, I'm scared to see what that looks like for the USCA and the ESAC for what he's going to do next year. Keon Blanding-Dawkins,
he really turned it on down the stretch. Now, I do remember him vaguely from last season.
Yes.
Last season, you were dealing with a lot of trying to balance playing time, and I think early in the season, he didn't get enough time for maybe me to see him, but I'll tell you what, he was incredibly dynamic the second part of this season.
Yes, he's phenomenal. And like, the part I just want to focus on too is that like all these guys that I'm mentioning and that we ended the season with, they're all great character people. And I think that was part of my goal year 1 too, was just to like keep the right people in the room to build around for these future, to bring in those same type of recruits. That's something I look at when I'm recruiting, is like how they interact with their teammates, their families, how they be with our Central Penn community. Like, it's bigger than basketball at the end of the day. So like, Keon's one of those people. He's the same every day. I would love for you guys to see him in a basketball context and at practice. Like, he has a smile on his face every day, even when he's playing. It's somewhat weird, but I love it because like, he's going at somebody and he has this big old smile on his face, and just like, he's wonderful. But he's consistently who he is. He's great on the court. He's phenomenal. Great person, great family. And a lot of that's just going to be echoed with a lot of these guys that we're building around. And that was always kind of the vision for me to build around moving into year 2.
Well, the last person I wanted to talk about, listed as a junior, missed the second half of the season, Connor Jenkins. Any idea where he stands moving forward?
Absolutely. So we met in person the other day. He injured his driving foot, so he wasn't allowed to drive until maybe like 2 weeks ago. So he lives in Hanover, so it was tough to see him. He's like family to me. So he's one of those same people that like came in the same year as Cam, brought him back, came in the same year as Isaac and those guys. So those are guys that I had that much respect for, that I was like, man, we got to bring them back in the program and back into school. So he still has that year eligibility. We're trying to figure out, he's engaged. He's a little bit older, and like how he's living his life. Like, he's engaged. His fiance Riley, she plays basketball for McDaniel. So he's a little bit more mature, a little bit more older, like still taking classes. But we just have to decide if he's coming back or not. My fingers crossed is that he is. Like, he's a great leader. If him added to those two, to Keon and Cam, and to build around those three, that'd be a dream come true for me as a coach.
Well, Kenton, we would certainly love to have you on later on this year once we get a little closer to basketball season. I'll tell you, it's so weird, and you probably deal with the same thing. Season starts in November, ends at the end of February. Before you know it, we're back on the court. It's almost like there is no off season to basketball. But Kenton, I think over the summer we'll have you back. We'll kind of see what's shaking out with the roster and do another preview. But look, the bottom line is growing pains. I think is we talked about how this early season schedule hurt. There was some shifting on the roster. The bottom line is, Kenton, and this is what I appreciate most about you, is you fallen on the sword here, the proverbial knight's sword. You know, I mean, it wasn't a great season. You've already admitted that this is not up to your standards, and your goal is to totally have a whole entire shift next year. You've got a strong, not only strong recruiting class, but you've got a strong core base of players who are going to come back and be leaders. Absolutely. So what else is there to say? Is that, you know, we're going to continue to support you, and we just appreciate your honesty here with us on the Nightly News podcast.
Always. I'm always a transparent person, and I always take accountability. And just the opportunity that Casey gave me, like, I know the expectation. So, like, I'm not satisfied until we get to that point where we're competing for ESAC championships and winning them. We haven't won one yet for men's basketball, so, like, that's my goal. My immediate goal is to get to that point to be an ESAC champion, and just building to do that. And I think this year, as you mentioned, the offseason, we have a maroon and orange recruit game coming up, tied in the open house. So we're just adding this different programming, and this is kind of the first full off season I'll have for basketball. So I'm excited about that too, to be able to recruit, have more events and programming that will just help make the basketball experience even better.
Listen, if there's anything I can ever do, I'm only a knock on the door or a quick email away. So please. And Kenton, again, thank you so much for your time today and all of your hard work and your mentorship of our students. Again, I know that the season didn't quite go as well, but I'm telling you, the impact that you've made on these players is something they'll feel forever.
And that's what it's about for me. It's just making sure these kids are taken care of. That's why I'm at Central Penn. And that's why I appreciate you guys, because you guys do all the same things for our students and our athletes. I'm just here to make sure I'm like a father figure for them, make sure that their lives go the way that they want them to go.
I think you should be very proud.
I am, for sure. They're all wonderful. I'm thankful and I'm proud to be involved with people like you, Paul. And the same goes for you, too. Like, you do a lot for them, and I don't think you recognize day to day how much you mean to them, but the same goes back to you, too.
I appreciate that. All right, well, that's going to do it for this episode of the Nightly News Podcast. I want to thank Assistant Athletic Director and Knights men's basketball coach Kenton Alston for joining us today. Kenton, we'll look forward to having you back later on this year.
Always look forward to it. Thank you, Paul.
All right, well, that's going to do it for us here today. We'll see you again next time. Welcome, everybody, to a special edition of the Nightly News Podcast. So I wanted to take the time to have athletics intern and Central Penn Knight men's basketball player Donnell Loud back on the show. Donnell, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Well, it's our absolute pleasure. Thank you for taking the time out to be here. You know, Donnell, this is just sort of an abbreviated episode of the show, but I did want to have you in here for a few reasons. Number one, you're one of the most well-known people on campus. Everybody knows you. You got a smile that lights up a room, as they say, but you're getting ready to graduate, and so I wanted to take some time to have you back on the show for a last time, just to talk a little bit about the basketball season, your internship that you're currently doing right now, and what lies next for you. So how's that sound?
It sounds good. I'm really happy. I know, like, when I came back here again, I knew, like, I was going to have some good teammates, good coaches, good staff, and it was definitely happy to come back here and play my final year of college basketball.
And again, I don't want to belabor some of the challenges of the basketball season. What I do want to say is, what was it like being a senior on the team and potentially mentoring some of the new students here on campus? How did that role change for you, and how did that maybe shift your perspective?
So me as a senior, I definitely took a lot of impact on being the leader of the team, making sure, like, everybody was fine, just, like, you know, mentoring them, teaching them, you know, showing the guidance before I head on to a new chapter. So I just hope they take this next chapter and hopefully they take something and put it all on the floor.
Well, and that's something that we've talked about on previous podcasts is, you know, sometimes as athletes in college, you know, you come in and you're just sort of a sponge and you're taking as much information as you can from the seniors, but you don't necessarily, I'm not saying you specifically, I think you relished in it, but I think a lot of times as players get a little older, they don't necessarily step into that role well. You seemed to have embrace being that senior leader on the team. So is this something that you actively sought out to do, or was it just something that's kind of, hey, I'm a senior, this is what I have to do?
I think it's just sponge to me because I definitely always wanted to be a leader. I always wanted to take over, make sure, like, guys is, like, doing the right thing as they should in the classroom and on the court, making sure everybody is fine, making sure everybody is well prepared for when it's game day, and when they come on and off the floor, and they cheer on for other teammates.
And I'll tell you what, again, I don't want to go into too much detail about the season because we are going to have a full episode wrap about that. But I'll tell you what, some of the loudest I have ever heard an ovation was for you had multiple just massive dunks in the middle of these games that really shifted the momentum. How does it feel when you throw one down like that and hear the crowd just going bonkers after that? How's that make you feel?
It made me feel energized, felt like I was hyped up enough. Even though when my mom couldn't come out to any of the games, I always knew whenever I look at the crowd, I know she's right there. So whenever on game days, I just know my mom is there. So even just her watching live stream.
I was going to say, so she watches the broadcast.
Yeah.
Well, so she's gotten to get to know me a little bit. That's really cool. Donnell, again, I commend you, and we'll leave it at this for the season. I commend you so much for going through a lot of adversity in terms of eligibility and coming back this year. It was your full commitment to be back, and that you even had to kind of rearrange your schedule in order for this to happen. Not everyone would do that. And yes, the season was full of ups and downs for the Knights men's basketball team, but I hope that you're going to take and leave a positive, remembrance of what it meant to be a Knight, because I got to be honest with you, you are one of the most dynamic players that have come through here in a long, long time, and your impact is going to be felt for years down the line, the way that you mentored some of these young players who are going to have to step in and take over for you moving forward.
Absolutely.
And so I just want to ask one sort of final question as we transition to the internship piece. Coach Kenton, this was his first season as head coach. What were some lessons he taught you on the floor this season?
He taught me to be the best role model, best leader, best mentor, and best student athlete. Always support each other, always cheer each other on and off the court, always uplift each other and help each other rise.
And that just goes to show that Coach Kenton is one of the people who is changing the culture here at Central Penn, and we're hoping that culture change we start to materialize so in the future, because I give him a lot of respect and credit for what he's done, and we're just looking forward to hoping that these shifts will be seen on the floor. Let's move on to your internship. So one of the things that you have been doing this term is you are the athletics intern. So you've been doing a lot of different things. Some of the things I know that I've been working with you directly on are doing some marketing, trying to get people to come out to these games, both throughout the basketball season and into the baseball season as well. You're also going to be working the baseball games,
yep.
But you've also been doing a lot. Of course, just some of the day-to-day stuff. You're the fitness center attendant. You're also helping out with some inventory and of the materials. You're helping market. You're just doing a whole lot of different stuff. So tell me a little bit more about this internship and some of the positive things that you're learning and taking away.
The positive things I've learned so far is how to make flyers, because I remember taking your class. We was on Canva, and we was doing some flyer works and getting them out to the market, and we was describing. So I think that's one of the coolest things I ever did. And also, I'm still learning some new things as I still go on day to day. So other than that, I can honestly say this is the best internship I ever had.
That's great. And to be honest, I know that Donnell, tell me, actually, I don't want to speak for you. Mm-hmm. Tell me what your goals are when after you hang up the jersey and you walk across that stage here this coming spring. What is next for you?
My goal is to either become a mentor, a basketball coach, or to play overseas across the water.
And do you have any type of connections with overseas basketball, or do you have any first steps of how you would approach even doing something like that?
Not quite, but I'm still going to continue to work hard.
Well, and here's the thing. I'm not saying that because I think that you definitely have the skill. I wouldn't even know how to start something like
Yeah.
that. So I'm sure there are tryouts and things of that nature. So I wish you well. And really all you need to do is just find somebody who's already done that. We have several alumni who have played overseas that I'm sure Kenton can get you in touch with, and even just chatting with them on the phone or over Zoom or something like that, and just asking them, hey, what are the first steps for me to do this? Of course, I also appreciate your comment there about coaching and mentorship. And I think that that's really important. One of the things that I think that we can continue to take a look at is that, getting into coaching is a challenge. It really is, because if you don't have any experience, really what you're kind of looking for is somebody to take a chance on you. So, I think maybe reaching out and to do some type of intern capacity is often how a lot of coaches get their start, working under somebody who they respect and admire. So again, whether that's Coach Kenton or whether that's somebody else, maybe a little closer to your home, I hope that you're able to sort of offer your services in that capacity as well. So tell me a little bit more about your internship. So you're working with the athletics department. Aside from the coaching and the mentorship, could you see working in a college athletic department or even a high school athletic department as like an athletic director or game day operations? What are you seeing as far as pursuing that after your internship?
I can see myself working in the athletic department, and I also can see working in the athletic department and making flyers to host the games, so that way everybody could come out and enjoy and have fun.
And I think that that's something special. I think one of the things that a lot of people don't realize about working in athletics is there is a marketing piece to it, and I think our team does a really, really good job of supporting our athletics. That's something, we just had a all-staff meeting this morning talking about how important it is that, we're getting the word out there and we're getting people to come to these athletic events, because at Central Penn, we've put such a, high priority on our athletic teams. We're starting a volleyball team, and we've started a cross-country team in recent years. So I just really, really hope that we continue to see that expansion. But that's something that, Donnell, you're just kind of simply working. You're going to work with baseball, but you've pretty much just worked with basketball. You're not even taking into consideration the soccer, the volleyball, the other sports that we have. I mean, we're getting to the point where we are going to be doing year-round sports here at Central Penn, and that's something as an athletic director, one season closes, there's no rest for the weary. It's another one gets started.
It's definitely not.
So, well, Donnell, I just want to tell you a couple things, and then I'm going to ask for just some final thoughts. First of all, I just appreciate your commitment and dedication to the team. Even in a rough season, you stepping into that senior leader role was so important. And again, as I mentioned earlier, your impact is going to be felt years from now from those freshmen and sophomore who you mentored this season. So even though you won't be here, the spirit of Donnell Loud will be here for many, many years to come, as well as some of the other seniors on the team. So I want to thank you for that, and thank you for all of the hard work that you've put in being a Knight.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Well, let's move on to the internship. And again, I hope that you're able to take away some positives here. It's been tough with some snow days and things like that, but you've again maintained a positive attitude. And Donnell, I got to share one thing with you. It's that a positive attitude takes you so far in life. As a student, sometimes we run into people who maybe not have the most positive attitudes. How did you get the demeanor that you have? It's really quite fantastic.
Sometimes you always just gotta wake up in the morning with a positive mindset and a positive attitude, and sometimes you gotta come in everything and just smile. So whenever I talk to my parents, my grandparents, I always just had this smile on my face, and I don't know, it just always just bring me lots of joy. And I'm glad I can make a lot of people here on campus smile. And
I'll tell you, and I know because I've worked with you a lot, that not every day is great. And sometimes we have to kind of force ourselves to wear that smile. Sometimes it's difficult to do. Sometimes we have other things going on. And I got to tell you, this isn't just coming from me. This is coming from faculty and staff all across campus. You are that attitude that you have, that positive attitude, that smile, you have no idea how far that's going to take you in this life. Because for many, it's not just about the skills that you're bringing to the table. It's also about how you fit with the team, how welcoming you are to other people, how positive of an attitude you have. And my man, you've got about the most positive attitude I've ever seen.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So just keep that in mind going forward. Well, Donnell, we're here in our last couple of minutes. I just want to kind of give you these couple minutes to just talk through some of the things that you're going to take with you from your experience at Central Penn throughout the whole time, both from an academic perspective and from a sports perspective. So let's start with the academics. What are some of the things that you're going to take with you? What lessons have you learned from being such a good student in the classroom?
Always show up to class on time. Always listen to details. Turning in your assignments on time. Always follow directions. Always ask questions. Don't ever hesitate to ask questions. Don't, because it's okay to ask questions.
Of course.
Always send out emails to your professors if you have any concerns, and they're always here to help you.
I mean, I'll tell you right there, if you're a freshman out there listening, Donnell just gave you a 10-point checklist of how to be successful. And that is one of the things, too, Donnell, is that, of course, we always want our students to reach out to us, and I frankly wish a lot of the students would have stronger communication skills, speaking with me about maybe issues that are coming up or questions that they might have. So in the last word here, what were some of the things that you're going to take with you from your experience with Central Penn Knights basketball?
One thing I could take with me is the late-night bus rides back to campus, enjoying these funny moments with them, battling with each other on and off the court, and always just being around them during every day.
Hey, there's no doubt sometimes it's like brothers. It's a love-hate relationship, right? You spend so much time with one another. There's bound to be ups and downs. But if you're able to take those positive things away from your college basketball career, and hopefully in the future you'll be able to continue to mentor other basketball players, I think that's wonderful. But of course, we wish you well in your pursuit to play professionally overseas. So I wish I had some advice to give you. Of course, start with Coach Kenton, and then maybe reach out to some of our alumni who've actually made that transition. So, Donnell, listen, man, it's kind of a sad day. I mean, I know from when we're recording here, we still have some time together, but I respect and admire you so much, not only for your ability to have this positive attitude, but for your commitment and dedication. There were some bumps in the road, and you just dealt with them just like it's another thing and that you're going to battle through. And unfortunately, a lot of our students don't do that. They come to a bump in the road, and unfortunately, it's not something they get through. You've gotten through a variety of bumps in the road, so I thank you for all of your hard work. I thank you for your attitude, and I thank you for all of the impact that you've had on the students here, not only on the team, but just in our department and all across campus. So,
Thank you so much.
Any final thoughts? For
the new incoming freshmen or transfers, all I have to say is continue to work hard, and I'm looking forward to supporting you guys. And I'm always watch you guys play this year.
All right, well, you're always going to be able to watch Central Penn Knights basketball because I'll be calling the games. All right, well, hey, that's going to do it for this episode of the Nightly News Podcast. I wanted to thank athletics intern and senior Knights men's basketball player Donnell Loud. Donnell, thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much.
All right, we'll talk to you again soon. For Donnell Loud, for Professor Paul Miller, we'll see you again next time on the Nightly News Podcast.